Charlotte Motor Speedway, often regarded as America's home for racing. You've got the Z-Max 4-lane dragway. You have the dirt track at Charlotte. But most famously of all, you have the 1.5-mile speedway, which is home of the Coca-Cola 600, the NASCAR Cup Series. Today, though, we use none of those facilities, not even the NASCAR Roval. We are using the Charlotte Motor Speedway Legends Road Course in its longest configuration for round number 7 of the iRacing Formula V Series. Hello, one and all, and welcome to RaceSpotTV. Friday night Primetime. My name is Ola Redfall. I've got Stephanie Schlack beside me in the commentary box with Connor and Maddock down behind the cameras for today's race. It is bound to be a very exciting run here tonight with these 11 drivers getting set to rumble away for another 12 minutes of racing action here, Stefan. So, it's a track that neither of us have seen all too much. I've only ever driven this car in single car stints. This is the first time I've seen this race in actual full-on, we're talking like full-on like racing situations here. This should be an entertaining one.
Yeah, it most definitely should be quite entertaining. I've done this layout a couple of times in cars like the Radicals or even the F1 car. And it most definitely is quite fun in a little bit of a twitchy, very fast car. Because you really can throw it around these corners. In a Formula V, a little bit of a different story. You can't throw it around as much, but it still should generate quite some fun. I have to say, I haven't been able to do a single race here, so I'm going race-wise quite blind into this race as well with you guys. So I'm very excited for this. I was really looking forward for this race all season long already, so I'm very glad I can be sitting here next beside you, Nolan, for this race.
Take a look at the schedule on the season so far. We kick off the second half here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Then we throw ourselves over to Summit Point on August the 6th for a track that holds one of the longest races we will be seeing yet on the season here in the iRacing Formula V Series. The Tsukuba 2000 full circuit this time around is coming right after that before we make our way back to Lime Rock Park. Then back to Summit Point again for the Jefferson circuit, finishing it off in Australia in Oran Park. So, it's bound to be an incredibly entertaining race that we've got ahead of ourselves here, and especially the rest of the season we got ahead of ourselves. A lot of very good tracks coming up in short order here. If I could, though, I would like to talk a little bit about this facility that we're going to. It's very tight and twisty, and this was, of course, originally designed for the Legends cars. Of course, they have not ran here in the history since this layout was first designed, but you get the idea. It's for the lower horsepower and the slower cars, and I think that's most notable when you look at just how much little space there is between the starting grid and turn 1. We're talking maybe 60 feet tops between the start-finish line and turn 1 itself, as you watch Ade Cobo-Lopez diving through turn 1, part of the Legends Oval, onto the NASCAR pit road, where you actually utilize the NASCAR pit exit road for turn 2.
Yeah, good thing we won't see any pit lane action here today apart from racing, because otherwise those pit crews would have to jump a little bit out of the way. But no, Aleko Polo is doing his lap right now through turns 3 and 4, that is. I have to add 1 up here because turn 1 is that weird hairpin right after the start-finish line. And yeah, now, as I said, it is designed for the slower cars, it is designed for the less horsepower cars, and so flow will be very important here. It can generate a very nice flow through, especially this section right here, the hairpin to the left, the hairpin to the right now, and then once again a double hairpin that follows up right after. This is maybe sounding a little bit weird, but even though we have those back-to-back hairpins, there can be quite some nice passing action still happen, because those are very interesting corners, like you saw right there. Extremely late apex on this last hairpin, and like this quick left-right chicane where you're flat out in pretty much no matter what car you bring here. So it is gonna be a interesting race, and most definitely should generate quite some overtake maneuvers.
And there you see just how fast Cobo Lopez is already, half a second up from Cameron down to the second position. And it's a 1:24.167 compared to the 6:55 set by Craig Cameron. So Ade Cobo Lopez is no doubt going to be one of those drivers to look out for in terms of getting another easy victory here today. Hopefully, Stefan, not as easily as it was given to him last week at the Oulton Park Island layout. So 15 seconds remaining in qualifying. there are no drivers that are on course that will be able to set themselves up with another time. So your starting grid is pretty much set. We'll take a look at that starting grid in just a few moments, as just now the clock expires and we take things over to the race. Jacobo Lopez on the pole, then half a second up from Craig Cameron on the front row. It is going to be PJ Gotti in third place with Kaola Martin in fourth. Shanul Islam in fifth place with John Payne in sixth. Federico Castellari in seventh with Sergio Jimenez in eighth. Jamie May in ninth with Jacob Pumelvig in 10th. And it's going to be Jarno Downey to round out the 11-car field for round number 7 of the iRacing Formula V Series on Friday night primetime. So, what do you reckon the odds are going to be here, Stefan, that we get ourselves a good old turn 1 pile-up?
Well, the good thing is the short into turn 1 is very short, but you still can miss your braking markers. So anything is possible, even though it is a very short into that turn 1.
Just waiting on the 11th driver now of Jarno Downey to set a time, and they will not be able to miss the grid. Lights out, we're underway from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Good getaway from Jacobo Lopez. Already Gowdy trying to cover off Craig Cameron down into turn number 1 as they throw themselves onto NASCAR pit road for the first time tonight. Gowdy loses out in the battle for P2. Jacobo Lopez out by a long ways.
Oh!
Turn 2. Oh, big crash! And Craig Cameron is around in a huge way. Did he clip the tire barriers?
Yeah, he did. Lost track of where he was on track and collected the outside barrier. That's something I haven't seen in a very long time.
Take a look at this replay. This is Craig Cameron's incident. And good job on the field, by the way, for managing to avoid this. So we are still 9 cars strong. And it was the exit curves. Oh, just with the rear wheel a little too wide. And I'll tell you what, the field did a fantastic job to scamper around that stopped car. Cameron has gotten it going again, so he's going to be able to get back into this race. This is a look at the start, and this is on board, I believe, with John Payne further in the back. You can see just how short the run-up is to start and finish from where you guys all grid up. It was an absolutely maddening start, and you're going to see Cameron just sees the white car just up the road coming into turn 2 now and gets a face full of smoke, comes around the corner, and all of a sudden, there's a car stopped right in front of you.
Yeah, the good thing is Cameron stayed on the right side there with his spinning, so everybody had a lot of room there on the left side as we have a passing maneuver for P number 2 Martin to the inside of Gotti, and Gotti seems to have the inside now for the left-hander that is turn 2 here. Hopefully not gonna clip the inside barrier, does that nice and easily, but the run has been cut off by Gotti, so once again the momentum goes to the outside, that is Martin.
We'll keep eyes on this battle. There was a spin with Shanul Islam further in the back. We'll take a look at that one once this battle for B2 has died down a little bit more. But so far, they are duking it out big time. Kaola Martin picks on the second position. I don't think PJ Gotti will be able to really fight back until they get back around to the front straightaway, unless Martin makes some kind of mistake or Gotti can get the mother of all runs off of one of these switchback hairpins. But a good battle there for the second position. And that's going to put Martin up into second place already. A good run considering it started all the way down in fourth place. And of course, you got Jacobo Lopez already 3.3 seconds out in front. No surprise there. And tell you what, PJ Gotti. Oh, heads up. That's Jarno Downey just in front of them. Actually had it off right in front of them as well in the number 10 car. So a bit of an interesting run for him. Downey, of course, going into this race late. So now they have lap traffic to contend with. Never thought you'd see that in these races.
Yeah, especially on such a long layout like this is for these cars. I mean, they're still driving nearly a minute and a half around this track. That's just how slow the overall paces are on these switchback hairpins, as Downey does a very good job to get himself rid of the battle between Gotti and Martin. But it seems like Martin is gonna able to slowly run away here with the second place over Gotti, and maybe hopefully can put a little bit of a challenge pace-wise to Jacobo Lopez. Obviously, I don't really think that he's going to be able to put any physical challenge anymore on Lopez, as he is already nearly 3.5 seconds, 4 seconds already away from second place, just because of how much they were fighting, and sadly also a little bit because of his pace.
Already about a third of the way through this race. These 12-minute races, of course, they just fly by like they're standing still. I mean, you never have a lot of time to really slow down and think. You have to be on it every single lap, every single corner. So you watch this battle between P2 and 3 split it up further and further as they kind of go over these small little crests in the middle of the track. But you can tell on the left side, I mean, Gowdy now almost has a second gap up to KLM Martin. He is just not really closing in all too much. Up front, Andy Cobo Lopez diving through the turn 13 chicane. It's the Cobo Lopez show up in front, as it has been, for the past several weeks. He does a phenomenal job of showing up well prepared for these races week in, week out, and it really just shows how they can really go and get it done. And just like that, logs the fastest lap for the third lap in a row with a 1:24.170. Which, by the way, was enough to rival his qualifying lap by just 0.003 of a
race for the best of the rest. It's not 100% decided. I mean, last lap was about 0.4 in between Gowdy and Martin, but still could be very much on here if Martin makes a little bit of a mistake. Right now, by the way, also Martin and Lopez, the only two drivers below the 1:25 mark.
Shanul Islam making a pass on Sergio Jimenez down for the 6th position, and just like that, Federico Castellari gets passed as well. Now, Jimenez and Islam did have a coming together in turn 1 of the second lap of the race, and I think that may have been Jimenez's way of apologizing there for that one. It kind of made that one look easy for him. Islam had the overtake, and in fact, went so slow to the corner that Castellari bounced and got past the position as well to pick up 7th place. So, Sergio Jimenez drops down 2. The battle will be raging on, though, for 6th place still, as Islam will work on holding back Castellari, who tries to throw him down the inside of 12.
Now Castellari seems racy right here. Maybe does try something for a turn 1 move. Most definitely has to run on the back of Islam.
Gonna pull out to the left side of the run down to turn 1 as they hit halfway. One car spins up in front. That's Jarno Downey again. Side by side.
Switchback.
Castellari takes the position, and Shanul Islam to maybe go over to the 2 down the pit road. Don't think he's gonna be nearly close enough. Nearly runs into the back of him, but keeps things sorted. Unfortunately, though, checked up a bit too much, so he's lost a lot of time there.
Yeah, what a move though by Castellari. Does the switch back on Islam. Nowhere to defend that one for Shanul. So with that, Federico Castellari moves himself into the P6 position. And quite honestly, Jamie May not too far away here in that 5th position. Plus, he's much faster as well.
Going to a replay of the second lap here. There's Islam middle car and just gets run over from behind by Jimenez there. It's not a very unfortunate incident. I mean, you saw it right there. I mean, not a whole lot of room for Sergio Jimenez. We'll take another look on it from his angle. Oh, in fact, Jimenez wasn't even involved. This happened up the road from Sergio Jimenez. So an incident there between Islam and one of the other cars that was in that mid-pack. It actually was Jamie May, I say that now, taking another look at it myself here.
Yeah, most definitely looks like Jamie May was the guy
safe to say,
on board. Yeah, there we go. Just ran him over that number 8. And Jamie May really lucky as well to not lose his tire.
That's a silly incident, isn't it? I mean, it's the second lap of the race. The gap was never there. You could see it's not even like he was turned in. I mean, that's just a silly incident overall to be seen there. But regardless, you got yourself Islam, who's doing a good job to recover, trying to see if he can maybe run down Federico Castellari for the 6th position with no success. We'll take a look over, though, at this battle for P2 and 3. KLM Martin is still holding strong over PJ Gowdy, 1.3 seconds. This is among one of the closer gaps there is in the field, but you still have, of course, 6th, 7th, and 8th that are kind of in a very largely spread blanket of about 2 corners. But, I mean, overall, as we enter the final quarter of the race, it has been a decent run so far for a lot of these drivers out there.
Yeah, most definitely has been a very great catch-up, especially Castellari. I think he had a spin at one point and has been fighting his way back, already up back to P6. And as you can see, that white car up ahead of the black and yellow Castellari car, that is already Jamie May for that 5th position, who himself started in 9th place, so gained 4 positions as well. So quite some movers in this pack as well. And I think, though, Nolan, this battle will be quite a short one once Federico catches Jamie, because Federico has been half a second to a second a lap faster than me.
Well, in fact, just to prove that point, 6/10 faster on just the last lap below, and Castellari is catching it at an astronomical rate here. I mean, Jamie May will not be able to defend too much of Castellari once he does get caught, and that will probably honestly be either this lap or the next one. There's no way it will be any longer than a 2-lap fight between these two. And speaking of which, it's already coming up to 2 laps to go for the main guys up in the field. Oh, and Castellari takes a spin through the grass and onto the tarmac, and will lose out spots to Shadul Islam and Sergio Mendes, so scratch a top 5 finish for Castellari.
Yeah, and nearly even scratch a top 10 finish as Craig Cameron in 9th place just is behind him now, as we want to get right on board here on our race spot replay with Federico Castellari right out from Italy, into nearly the fence on the outside. That's how far he could have spun there, but great reaction from Federico to save that car. Spins it around nicely. Not too much pride lost there probably, but still a race that could have been a top 5 all of a sudden quite in the tatters.
He just clipped the grass. The most unfortunate thing about that was it wasn't even the front wheel that really clipped it. It was actually the back wheel, the right rear. That is all it takes to send one of these cars around. That being said, Craig Cameron is now trying to see if he can maybe scramble up and overtake Federico Castellari in the battle for 8th and 9th. Nice and close. So this is going to be interesting here to see if Cameron can maybe try to throw one down the inside of one of these corners. Castellari's got some work ahead of him. No doubt still trying to get those tires a bit cooled off from that big slide that he took. If Cameron can get a good couple of corners, he's got the potential. He could run him down, but I think Castellari will be able to pull away from him.
I wouldn't be so sure, because don't forget, Craig Cameron did start in 2nd place. He had that turn 2 incident rather, and has been on the catch-up game ever after. And look at that, how much he's pressuring that back end of Castellari. Only one of 4 people that is able to run below a 1:25 mark, Cameron is. So he most definitely would have had the pace to fight for that 2nd place. So unfortunate event took him out of the very early runnings of this race.
Cameron's looking for it. He might be able to get him into turn 1 if he can get a good run. Oh, that's going to be a beautiful run. Look at the crossover out through turn 12 through the turn 13 chicane. Coming up, we're now on this white flag lap for your race leaders. The battle, though, is raging for 8th and 9th out there at the moment. Will he have the run down to turn 1? Doesn't make that peak just yet. He is trying to diamond up the corners, though, Stefan. You can see that right there. Trying to get a faster exit, and it's a much better exit for Cameron. Coming up for turn 2. Oh, it's a big block from Castellari, and down the inside goes Cameron. Gets squeezed into the tires, and somehow they keep it out of each other.
What in the world was that block from Federico? Maybe not intentional, but most definitely made the move at the same time as Cameron did to the right side. What will Cameron do here? Will there be an answer right at this hairpin? Nope, has to stick behind.
Jacobo Lopez coming through the final corner, the turn 13 chicane. The Iberian will win here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway Road Course Legends long layout. It's a mouthful of a name, this layout is. Battle still raging on. You got one for 5th and 6th. You've also got one for 8th and 9th, which is still looking hot. So, Jamie May versus Shadul Islam, as well as Federico Castellari and Craig Cameron. 2 battles yet to be decided. Looks as though in the battle for 5th place, Jamie May will win out against Shadul Islam, who will not be able to go for a top 5 finish. Can Craig Cameron maybe get the draft, though? Out to the turn 13 chicane. It's a flat-out stretch all the way down the start-finish line, but it's not going to be enough. Federico Castellari holds him off to take 8th place. What an unbelievable drive there from everybody down throughout the order. All cars have a crossed start-finish. So we'll take a rundown at your post-race results after a thrilling ride from the Charlotte Motor Speedway infield road course in its longest configuration. It is Jacobo Lopez taking victory once again up there in first place with Kalen Martin down to second, 7 seconds back. PJ Gowdy is in third place, 10 seconds behind, with John Payne in fourth place. Jamie May rounds out the top 5. Chanel Islam just barely finishes behind May for 6th place. Sergio Jimenez is in 7th, with Federico Castellari and Craig Cameron. Their battle for 8th and 9th. Going right down to the wire. Jacob Popovic is going to be rounding out the top 10 with Jarno Downey 1 lap down in the 11th position. Fast lap, Adicopo Lopez on lap 4 with a 1:24.072, a time that beat his qualifying time, believe it or not, here, Stefan, by nearly a full 1/10 of a second there. So it's a good run there all the way around for Ade Cobo Lopez and for a lot of the other guys in the field. I mean, was it a bit more spread out than we've seen previously? Yes. But there were quite a few good battles to get us through these 12 minutes.
Yeah, if you take out Ade Cobo Lopez, it was actually a very good race, especially that race for second place that we had. It did entertain us for 2 to 3 laps, so most definitely a very great race, a little bit better than I have to say I expected, just because of this very slow nature that this track offers. But it showed once again the Formula V can produce great racing no matter where they go.
The next time we see the iRacing Formula V Series return, it will be for the full Summit Point Raceway with the longest straight and some of the longest flat-out corners we'll be seeing as well in the entire series over in August. So it is bound to be an incredibly fun race coming up for us in just a few just a few days time, really, just 1 week from now. Bound to be a very interesting run out here, Stefan. So real quick, your final thoughts here in just these next 10 seconds or so before we end things off.
Well, most definitely was a very great race, and I can't wait to look forward to Summit Point Raceway, because those long straights will keep our pack nicely tight together.
And with that, I'm Idol Rempo with Stefan Schlacka beside me in the commentary box. Connor and Matic down behind the cameras for tonight's race. It has been an absolutely glorious run for everybody out here today, and we have to thank once again everybody for joining us here on RaceSpotTV for more Friday night action. We'll see you all in August the 6th over at Summit Point Raceway. Good night.